Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. Today we have a beehive from VEVOR. I'm just starting to get into the beekeeping hobby. So let's take a look, see everything that we get inside here, and we go from there. So VEVOR always packs their stuff like really well, which is great because it safeguards anything and everything that comes. And this box wasn't too heavy. However, if you have a second person around, it will definitely help to get this lifted into position. And again, lots of these straps on here. So let's cut right down there, open that up. So we got that open. All right, so let me show you what the top looks like so you can expect that. And we get some of the. So that is your booklet. And again, another shot if I take the film out of the way. So it looks like there are a lot of interlocking pieces that are here on top and on the sides. So let me kind of like scoop them out, get them out of the way. Let me move this over on the side here. Okay. And that might be the lid. I'm not 100% positive. So let's continue to get some more of this stuff out of here. Then here are a couple of pieces. It's like these are different frames that we're going to pull out. And then it looks like these are some of the walls of everything. So to say the least, there are a lot of pieces to this. So many. We're going to sort through them as best as we can. There's smaller pieces up here. I'm just trying to dig everything out of the box, get it out of the way. Looks like that's some handles. Here's some more box frames. I got a fly flying around in here. All right. Next level, I think we can lift this forward. Okay, so that looks like that might be the base. And then that box is empty. Okay, so again, a lot of parts to assemble, but I think we can get this all sorted out. So I guess that's what the bottom of that looks like. And it's covered in some sheet metal. So as I dig my Leatherman out, here's the instruction book. I'll bring that closer so you can take a look. So basically it shows you the components, how it looks like when it is put together. So I had that backwards. That is going to be the top, and then the rest will be beneath that. So again, a little bit to it. Okay. All right, so the top we're going to put off to the side since we don't need that yet. Okay, so the primary framing pieces, if I'm using that terminology correctly, so you have two different types of this. So I separate them into two different piles. And then you have two separate, I guess, wood beams. So you can kind of see how they are a little bit different. One is longer than the other, obviously, and it has these hooks in it. So separate them into the piles and kind of get things going on that. And then the box pieces. So let's move all the yellow and the black side by side over here. Let's kind of move them out of the way. So it's going to be the 240 box. So we are going to be looking for our pieces here. Okay, so to give you an idea, so this is going to be your 240 box, and this is going to be your 170 box. So you can see the two different sizes on this. Okay, and this is where a rubber mallet really comes in handy. So that is your door piece. We're going to take that off. So that's going to kind of vibrate apart if we do. And this is a dovetail. So if you're not totally familiar, so you can kind of like see that. Then these pieces will kind of fit into the slot here. So what you can do is kind of line it up a little bit. And then you want to kind of, you can gently push it in. And then make sure you support it so you don't break any of them. And then basically take your rubber mallet, and then that will form that piece there. So we'll go for the other long side. Again, we'll line that up with the dovetails. And you'll kind of feel them kind of slide into place. So nice rigid design. Again, we're going to support this nice and easy. And again, I'll make sure we have that orientated the right way. So it's going to be the VEVOR logo. And then you got finger slot for your handle. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. Kind of slightly bend this out. And kind of get that started. And we'll start it on this side as well. And just line that up. And again, we'll tap that together there. And then we'll just slightly get this started down here. And see how I kind of went up and down along that. So that box is kind of complete. So let's put that off and down to the side. Okay, and the next, take these two doors out. Again, have the VEVOR logo orientated the right way. And then you're going to have your carry handles on the side. So this is going to mount in this way for you. Yeah, we'll just get that started. Okay, that piece is there. Then we got the other handle. Make sure you have the orientation correct on that. And then we'll just get this kind of set and going in here. Okay. Then the back. Again, just try to line those dovetails up. Line this side up at the same time. Okay, so you have that frame complete, and again, handles are here. Orientation with the VEVOR logo. That's good. There's one nice little tap in, so that's nice and tight. Okay. So those are both of your boxes basically started. Okay, so you're going to be looking for this piece. And basically what I've been doing is I've been just sitting here on the edge to kind of help balance everything. And then you have the longer of these pieces, just so you kind of know the difference. And then you're going to be taking the wider fork end and putting it down on here. And it might be a little snug, so be careful pushing that in. Then you're going to be taking your black piece and you're going to slide it down into, there's a little slot down there, and it kind of lines up okay. Not too bad. Then you're going to be taking this top piece, and that will fit on the other side of the forks. And then you want to kind of like work it in, and then you'll kind of like squeeze everything together. Make sure that this is in that little slot. And then what you're doing is you're taking your little nails, your Q nails, and you're going to be putting them right down here in the middle of that. And gentle with the hammer. Get that kind of started. Okay, so we got that kind of started. And we'll just make sure we line up on that side. Make sure it's still in the slot. We'll grab another nail. And then again, we'll put it right here. And we'll hold that as we nail that down. And that goes in. Finish that one. All right, now you have a little bit more of a stable surface. We'll put this down here on the side. And then again, we'll put a nail in here. Okay, they don't have to be perfect, but make sure that you are going into the frame okay. Let's get another nail. Okay, so that frame is complete, and they don't have to be perfect. Bees don't expect precision. And then that will sit right down in there like that. So basically kind of like rinse and repeat on that process. So we'll be right back after we get that set of frames done. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can probably tell, I've been busy as a bee, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I made a bunch of the other frames up too. And let me just get these out of the way. And what I will do is I will show you how I put one of them together. And pretty simple. So you have basically the same pieces, but then you're going to have like the shorter fork-like pieces. And then you're basically just kind of assembling that. So again, upside down. Let me clean some of this out of there. I got some dirt here. So basically we are putting that frame kind of down in there. So we're going to take both of these forks, just shorter ones, and we are going to twist them into place. So just like the larger frames. So you got that piece like that. Then you're going to take this frame, put this down in there. Then this top piece basically sits on top of that. And then basically kind of push that together so it's all home. And I did make a couple mistakes with a couple of nails, but they do give you some extra ones. So in case you are concerned about that, but if not, they are easy enough. If you just basically ran down to your local hardware store, you could probably pick up a couple extra ones if you needed to. But again, I think there was probably like maybe half dozen extra ones. And as you can tell, that one kind of went in a little sideways on me, but that's okay. I'll flip it up on this side. And they go in very, very easy as long as you kind of get them started straight. So, and then that's our last frame there. Yeah, some dirt on this side, so we're just gonna kind of pull that out real quick. And it actually smells. Okay, got some of that dirt out of the way. They actually smell great because they're all covered in like beeswax. So, and then on this one, we were gonna put the window in, which I did not do yet. So let's take out a bunch of these frames so we have some room to get in there. Flip-flop them to either side. Okay, so you get two sections of glass, plexiglass. So you got that there, and it's going to kind of like go like this, and then it's acrylic plexiglass, and it has a film that's on it to protect it from getting all scratched up during shipping. So you got to kind of like find a corner. Easier said than done sometimes. So I got that piece done. Let's work on getting this side. And I'm going to use a blade of my knife to kind of cheat a little bit. Just right in the corner to kind of get this peeled back a little bit so you won't see it. All right, there we go. All right, so we got that piece out. So it's going to kind of fit in there like so. So this is so you can actually open, inspect the hive, see how everything's going on one side of it without actually disturbing the bees or letting the bees come out through that area. All right, and they are going to be your smaller screws. And they're wood screws. I'm going to line that up there. I'll line that window up one more time. I think I'm going to actually have it this way. I guess it really doesn't matter which way we're going to have it. So you got a little bit of a vent area. Put that towards the one side. And we're going to stick that screw in. Then I'm going to grab my handy dandy screw gun. I think we're going to mount it like this. And I think get it as nice as we can. And goes in really easy. There, and definitely make this a snug fit. because you don't want any bees getting caught in between the plexiglass and the outside trying to escape. So make it nice and tight, line it up really nice. Get the rest of these out, so I can kind of flip this forward so you can kind of see how that glass looks on the inside. So pretty simple. Oh, and this is the bottom part, kind of like the entrance. The box kind of sits on this side, so you had this section here kind of hold it together. So this is kind of like the call it like the bee porch, where they kind of like come in and land and then go into the hive. And then this little wooden piece here, it has two different cutouts on it. So you can make a wider mouth if you got a really busy hive, or you can make it a little bit on a smaller side, which I think I'm going to start out doing. So we'll just line this up on top here, and then we'll make that nice and flush. I'll give you kind of another view of that. So that's going to sit on top of there. Then we can put all these back in. So they fit all nice together. Final one. All right, so they all fit nice. I'm going to actually... so that is kind of like the bee porch where they're going to land. And that's going to be the entrance. And like I said, you can flip that piece around. And then that's what it looks like with all the frames in it. It's kind of tight on this side. So depending on how you have yours configured, I was probably going to actually put mine on a little bit of an angle just to get the bees a little more room on either side to get in that area. But again, that's personal preference. And this top piece will sit on like that. We have another window to install. Okay. And then we got the two doors that we're going to put on. And it's going to be the longer screws, the non-wood ones. Just get that poking through. Okay, so that knob is done. I'll get this one going. Okay, so that's your other door done. So you're going to have your bottom pieces there. You're going to have your queen. So parts are shown as, so you have your entrance reducer, your bottom board, your 240 box, your queen excluder, which is going to be this piece right there. So that's going to sit on top like that. Then you're going to have your 170 box, which is here. Then you got your 170 box on top of that. Then we'll put all our frames in. fit nice. Okay. That's going to be the top of the box, basically. And then this is your roof. Nice tin roof. Then we're going to install our doors in the front. Okay. So that's going to be the one door there. And then there's going to be the top door. And then these are going to be kind of like your latches. So we're going to drill each latch in. So you don't need a lot, just enough to kind of like hold it like there. Then you got it like that. Let's put one here on the bottom. Okay. Okay, so again, a little slippery with everything on the beeswax, but then you can put that down. Then you got that door right there. And the same thing here. Put that, and then you got your door. So very cool, very neat. Then that all goes into place. And there you have it. Okay, so here is the box set up outside. Made a little platform out of some old decking, so it's nice and level. Now we just add bees. Anyway, Brian from Garage Mahal, thanks for watching, and be safe out there.